Hi guys, Carl here from Self-Sufficient Hub, and today we are going to be talking about this plant down here. And this is a plantain. There's two super common types of plantain, and this one is broadleaf plantain, also known as white man's foot, because the seeds would fall from the sacks that settlers in the US would carry grain in. They would have some of these seeds mixed in with their regular grains, and they would fall out along the path, and the Native Americans would refer to this plant as white man's foot, because wherever the white man walked, this plant would grow. So like I say, this is called broadleaf plantain, but the reason that we're going to talk about it really, although it's a wild edible, we're going to be talking about it predominantly for its medicinal qualities. So it's got antifungal and even mild antibiotic properties, and also analgesic properties. But the real big one for me is the antihistamine properties, because it really is quite a powerful antihistamine. Now you can recognize the plant by a fair distance away by these seed stems. And I'm sure that you've all seen this. It's such an abundant plant. Now, a short time ago, I mentioned yarrow as one of the two medicinal plants that everyone should learn when they first start. This is number two. And as I say, this is just one type. This and the Ribwort Plantain, which has got, it's very similar, but it's narrower leaves, and the top of the seed stalk is more compressed. And I'll show you that in a minute. This is just an absolutely essential, I think, to know wild plant. Now, it is an edible. If you're going to use it as an edible, you want to use the younger leaves, the smaller leaves, like these ones down here. But personally, they're, a little bit bitter. They're not particularly nice to my palate. Certainly I would eat it if I was forced to make a salad out of wild plants and there wasn't a lot else around. I would happily use some, but usually there's something nicer to eat. But in terms of an antihistamine, it is fantastic. Now, an antihistamine is basically something that you're going to use to deal with allergies. Now, that might sound like something not everyone needs, but when I tell you that our body's reactions to things like animal bites and stings, and even nettle stings, that's all an allergic reaction. That's basically our body's histamines performing their job. So our body releases histamines when we get stung by nettles and when we get bitten by bugs or stung. Those histamines are what causes our skin to itch and maybe hive up and form that swelling. And you can use this as a really effective antihistamine to block those reactions. All you do is you just chew it up, and then you would just rub that on the affected bit of skin, just like I'm doing now, and it will treat the histamines that are causing that reaction, and it will make a huge difference to the swelling and the itchiness and the rash that you may or may not be having. Just got some friends come to see me, look. And down here we have Ribwort Plantain, and as you can see, the leaves are much narrower and the seed stalks are quite different. All the seed heads, the seed head is just at the end of the stalk rather than running a long way up it. You might remember as a child using these to make little bullets out of that you'd fire by wrapping the stem around. So this is Ribwort Plantain, and the uses are exactly the same. The only difference I would say is that the seed heads are a little bit more palatable on this one. You can actually use them as a wild edible. Some people say they taste a little bit like mushroom. So that there is Ribwort Plantain. So if you're out foraging or walking with your children, the first thing you should do at the start of the walk is grab some of these and put them in your pocket, because you never know when you're going to need them. And when your children brush against these nettles and get that sting, when you break out this, it makes all the difference in the world. Now, the difference between this and dock, they're really interested in what I'm doing. I hope you're learning, girls. So the difference between this and dock is that dock is basically a complete placebo, with the one caveat that The fact that it's a sort of a cool liquid being rubbed on your skin can have a soothing property, but beyond that you could be using literally any leaf to achieve that purpose, whereas this contains legitimate antihistamines that serve a purpose. So as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the top 2 medicinal herbs that you need to learn. So that's plantain. Like I say, this is the broadleaf plantain, and the smaller one with the narrower leaves is Ribwort Plantain. The reason that I think it's so important is because it's so abundant. You can always find this. It grows basically everywhere. It grows in lawns, grows in fields, grows at the side of the road like we are here. You really don't have to look very far to be able to find some plantain. So we'll have another quick close look down here, and you'll see these are the stalks that shoot up. This is quite a large one, and then over here, right next to the road where vehicles have trodden it down, you'll see a slightly more typical arrangement that you might see in a lawn. But they really are one that everyone can learn to identify really easily. So if you find these videos valuable, there's several ways you can support them, and the easiest of which is to subscribe to our channel. Press that like button, leave a comment down below. Please let me know what you think, and let me know if you've ever used this or if it's one you're going to learn in the future, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Cheers.